3 reasons why it's a bad idea to wait to set up your estate plan in Florida. If you've been putting off setting up your estate plan, you're not alone. But waiting could lead to serious consequences for you and your loved ones. Hi, I'm Jim Purdy. I'm an estate planner, and today I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why it's a bad idea to wait to set up your estate plan in Florida. The first, number 1, is that life is unpredictable and anything can happen. I often work with people who come to me saying, I know that I need an estate plan, and I've always known that. And then life happens. They put it off, and they put it off too long. So I had a client once who came to me and she said, I've been diagnosed with cancer and I need to put this estate plan into place. Unfortunately, she was dead within a week, and we didn't have a chance to actually put the estate plan in place and get it executed before she was gone, and it was too late. And so her estate passed through probate. It was handled in ways and it was distributed in ways that she did not want. That was not what she wanted as part of her plan. Number 2, the government decides where your assets go if you don't. Much like the last example, there's a probate code in every state, and that code determines who gets your assets when you're gone if you don't have an estate plan in place. So what happens then? Typically, the probate code will say that your assets go to your nearest living next of kin. Now in Florida, we've got some interesting situations. In Florida, half of your assets go to a surviving spouse and half go to your surviving children. And this is important because if you're on a second marriage and you have children from a first marriage, you want to make sure that they're not disinherited, and that's why the probate court is designed the way that it is. What if you want everything to go to your spouse? Most people do, and if you don't have an estate plan that lays that out, then your inheritance isn't going to go the way that you want it to when it goes through probate. So to avoid probate, have a proper estate plan in place and spell out exactly what you want to have happen to your assets when you die. The other benefit of that is not only can you say who gets it, maybe you don't mind the probate distribution, but you want specific things to go to specific people. Well, probate code doesn't make any allowance for that, but your estate plan can. So if you want to make sure your daughter gets your jewelry, for example, or your son gets your car, you can make those specific designations in your estate plan, whereas if your estate goes through probate, there's no opportunity for that. Third reason to have an estate plan is that your loved ones might be left with a financial burden. So without an estate plan, your estate goes through probate, and there's costs associated for that. Probate is time-consuming, it's expensive, and it is a burden on the people that you leave behind. For example, probate fees in Florida are presumed reasonable at 3% of probatable assets. Most attorneys charge more than that. They'll start with that as a baseline and add to it depending upon how complex your estate is. And the average probate in Florida will cost between 5 to 7% of the probatable assets. So if you own a home in Florida, the average value of a home in Florida is over $400,000. If you have life insurance policy, maybe you add another $100,000 to that, and maybe you've invested and you got $500,000 in investment and savings and retirement accounts. You got $1 million estate. If that goes through probate, that's going to cost you between 5 and 7%, $50,000 to $70,000 a year to 2 years of time through the court process of probating, and everything's public. Now, if you have an estate plan in place, you're paying maybe a tenth of that up front, maybe less than a tenth of that, depending on exactly what your plan entails. To have that plan in place, you save a lot of money for your heirs, and that money remains in the estate for your heirs to inherit. You'd rather it go to your heirs, to your children or your spouse, than to some lawyer. Everybody wants that. And the best way to do that is through having an estate plan in place. You also get the added benefits of saving a lot of time and keeping the whole transaction private. There are plenty of other benefits to estate planning, but that's one big one that most people enjoy. So those are 3 reasons that you should have your estate plan done now, so you can have peace of mind and your estate can be handled the way that you want it to, and your heirs can get what you want them to get, when you want them to get it, and in the manner that you want them to receive it.